I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks everyone for joining tonight. So I do have something to read before we jump on in. So before we begin tonight's meeting, I do want to note that due to a temporary outage of the city's website, we were unable to post the agenda online. However, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and city practice, the agenda was physically posted on the City Hall bulletin board on December 11th, more than 24 hours in advance of this meeting. Additional efforts were made to ensure transparency, including a printed copy to city council or printed copy at City Hall, emailing copies or printing for all council members. Copies of the agenda are available here tonight. Once the website is restored, we will post the agenda online for the public record. Thank you for your understanding. A couple other housekeeping topics. Obviously, everybody heard it's recorded. If there is any personal conversations, I do ask that those be taken outside so we do not disrupt the meeting. And then you'll be given a couple opportunities to come up and speak. At that point, I just ask you to approach the podium, state your name for the record. We'll go ahead and jump on in. So we do have everybody here tonight for a forum. I would call for any additional business tonight.
I would like to talk about some financial things.
Anybody else have anything else they would like to add to other business tonight? Okay, so we'll move on down. I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Did one?
Can I get a
I
second?
second it.
Thank you. Moved by Rebecca and seconded by Jamie. Any discussion? All right, if there's no discussion, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm a little slow to that, but why is the park board meeting minutes in the consent agenda?
I asked the same question of myself, but I think because it was included with.
That's how they've always been listed out, just, I can put them down in informational,
Because we can't really,
approve those.
we can't.
Well, they're
check
not for
this.
approval, they're just there,
They were with.
I'll move them to the bottom.
Okay,
So,
Just for information.
so for department reports, we'll jump right into City Hall. Rachel, you have to report tonight?
Kind of jumping off of what Sherry said about the website, it is down, it should be back up. We should be able to at least have the actual agenda listed, maybe not all the content. It's probably gonna be about 2 or 3 more weeks before we can do that. And then our emails did go down for a couple days. All of the, they're all back now, but if any emails were sent from like Friday to Monday morning, they probably were not received. And that's it. That's all I have.
Anybody have any
So-
questions?
Yeah, so the going forward then, before the website gets up, what is the plan?
We will email you your agendas and you can pick up a copy. It's the same thing as it's always been. We have to have the actual agenda posted, but not all the content. So the goal is to have the actual agenda posted and then people can reach out for content. For the council members, we can either print you out a packet or we can email it the way we have always done it.
Okay.
Does that not work for you?
You've actually not emailed us.
We've always emailed links to the packets,
Right, but the links are
to the
on the
website.
website, right?
Correct. So this time we'll just send you a PDF link of all the content that'll be in the packet. So you'll still receive an email, but just won't link you to the website.
Okay, that was. what
Or
I
we
was
can
trying
print
to
you a
get
packet.
clarified.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be much like this one was, where it's just a big, hopefully not as big of a PDF.
yeah, well, that comes to my comment there is that I know I'm not gonna, well, I'll be a consumer sitting out there, but the 2 ginormous enclosures would have been much better served as separate documents because having to go to page 171 in the next agenda item was awesome.
Yeah, they should have been sent.
For
with
me,
book-
less of an
bookmarks.
issue because I just edited it down, but other people, maybe not so easy.
Anybody else have anything for Rachel before we move on? Okay. And moving down to Public Works, did everybody have a chance to review the report that was sent in by the guys?
Yeah.
Jay and, or John and Connor and Jay? Does anybody have any question for Public Works?
How are they doing on?
It's good. It's good. Yeah, they were definitely hustling on that, and I know that they did have a part-time person that helped a lot with that as well, so they made great strides to get that done.
Like done, or first swap done?
I think they are pretty well done, other than
To
like
clarify.
our little teeny tiny, all of
So
the
is
important
every
things.
pump in the plant?
But
in there?
yeah, it's like we're down to like
Is every,
screwdrivers and,
yeah, so less interested in screwdrivers, more interested in when's the last time this pump was maintained? When's the last time we put a stethoscope on it so we could listen to it?
John is, yeah, he's working on their maintenance logs, and that way
The only
we're,
reason I ask is because that is a massive
Yes.
list, and I find it hard to
yeah, he is.
comprehend that they finished it.
He is currently working on making sure that all of the maintenance stuff is in there so that they have a strict maintenance schedule, so we're proactive, not reactive.
Okay.
So yes, they are hustling on getting that done too. Anybody else?
And did they get through, we got through all of the fire hydrant
Yeah,
testing,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that was completed. That's all. Anything else? All right, perfect. So we will go ahead and jump down into council reports. So I have a couple things that I wanted to report on tonight. One, we do have 2 open council seats, 1 open planning seat and 1 open park board seat. So anybody that is watching at home, anybody that's here that is interested in any of those positions, please reach out to City Hall. They'll get you the application to fill out, and then we'll start going through those to seat people at the tables. Other than that, I want a huge thank you to Planning Commission for all of their work on the comp plan. Reading through all that was a lot, and they deserve kudos for that for sure. I do have a couple recognitions. One is, well, all of these are for people who are here tonight. The first one is for Cindy Samco, which I'm sure she will yell at me later. But we definitely appreciate and give great gratitude for all of her many years of service and dedicated to being a dedicated volunteer for the city of Toledo. She stepped in when she didn't have to and worked tirelessly behind the scenes, even here at council, to basically make sure things ran as smooth as I could, AV issues and things of that nature that she was able to do. The website, she kept that up and running. She made sure that we had everything we needed, answered questions, jumped in at every turn when people needed help. Park board, didn't matter. So a huge thank you.
And you add that the current situation with the website.
Is not, yeah. Cindy is all, not one bit, no. Disclaimer. Yes, no. But yes, we do definitely thank her for all of her efforts and everything she's done. Now she gets to enjoy some peace and quiet time, I hope.
You know,
Plenty of peace and quiet. Which then again would bring me to the gentleman sitting next to me. We'll get through this without crying. So he is given 4 years of dedicated service to the city of Toledo. So he is a true asset to the community. Through his tenure, he accepted the appointment of the mayor pro tem. Sorry. On multiple occasions, stepping in when needed for both myself and the former mayor Dobosh. His willingness to serve and his leadership during those times have been greatly appreciated.
And he was also on the
Yep,
Well,
Thank you.
you're next. Okay, so bring us to Councilor Shepherd. So she stepped up to fill a vacant council seat when the city needed it most. So I appreciate how she jumped in. She put in the hard work to learn and grew alongside the rest of us. So I'm grateful for your contributions and everything you brought to the table. You are welcome. Okay, we think that covers everything. So that being said, I will move on to the rest of everybody. So Tawny, do you have anything to report?
Nothing to report other than it was adventure doing this, and I was happy I had the time to be able to do it. And I highly encourage any of those that are civic minded and have the time to volunteer, because this is volunteering. You give up a lot of hours, it's taking you away from your family and other things that are equally as important. And it's easy to complain on the internet. I would hope there'd be someone who would like to be part of the solution and help, other than being critical of a process you may not know a lot about. We have rules that we have to follow, laws and rules that we have to follow and adhere to, and it's not always easy. So I hope to see some folks step up that live in town. And again, that's not anything we have any, that's part of the rules, you have to live in town. So hopefully there are some folks out there that are interested in helping keep our town a great place to live. So thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to Eric.
Well, I kind of agree with everything she said. You know, the people that are sitting up here, she's elected to be the executive of the city and run the city. And then the 5 of us are elected as the voice of the citizens, not the enemy of the citizens. And I feel that higher up politics has broken all of that. None of us here are getting millionaire rich, trading stocks in advance. None of us here get paid a full-time job so that we can dedicate. It's volunteering, but we don't get to have dinner and beers together, right? So it's the negative, is the downside of volunteerism. But I definitely agree. Come sit on the other side and help get some work done and help Toledo succeed. Only reason I did this was because Toledo needed it, and that's it.
Rebecca.
Nothing to report, except I attended the Santa Claus parade and there was a pretty good turnout.
It's a wonderful turnout. It was nice, and I hope to see more even next year. And then that was amazing with the people being gone to state. It was
A lot
amazing.
of them made it back on time anyway.
Yeah.
Made an effort to make it back.
They did. Kathy.
I have nothing to report other than to draw your attention to a community blood drive this Friday.
Mhm.
And donors are always encouraged to do what they can.
Where's that at?
Presbyterian Church is the sponsor, but the blood drive is held out at the LDS church by the freeway, exit 63. We grew out of it downtown, so.
That's the one at the corner of Henriot Road. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What time is that? What time is
It's from, is it blank here?
11:30?
Yeah, thank you.
11:30 to 5.
Gotta get that. You gotta get all that right though.
Yeah.
Um.
A lot of people get through.
Yeah. And Jamie.
I got nothing except, I second your comments on the people who served.
Yes. All right. So with that, we will go ahead and jump down into committee reports. Before I know we've got the public hearings coming up, planning commission, did you want to speak on that?
Other than the topics that we're going to discuss later. As you know, this Wednesday is my last planning commission meeting. Been there for 5 years and it's time to step away. But it's been an honor to serve the city and go on to do some other things. I want to reiterate the gratitude to Eric in particular, the thousands of hours that he spent on the budget, getting a budget that had never been right in the last 10 years and presenting it now that Rachel can actually make sense of it. And forth, thank you very much for your service. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and I do not see anybody here from Park Board this evening. So we will go ahead and jump on into our public hearings. We do have 3 of them this evening.
No, just one.
Oh, just one? Oh, it's just on all 3 of them. So, we do have the public hearing on the comp plan, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:15. Anybody has,
Like a brief staff report to discuss the things there at hand, or that they're all in the council packets and they have been posted for months and discussed at planning commission for about the last 2 years, so. I don't know if there's anything new, but if you'd like, I could briefly give a.
Can you briefly?
yes.
I was curious. Cause I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Although that was probably beyond brief, so, yeah, tonight we have the zoning map, which is the map that sets the zoning, that sets the land use standards, the densities and other things for the city. We are also talking about the comprehensive plan, which is the 20-year, it's the big vision plan. Nothing regulatory about the comp plan, but it does set policy, which guides zoning and the zoning maps. And then we have the land development code, which is actually the meat and bones of everything. That's where the regulations happen. That's where all the land use and zoning regulations are all written and printed. So all of those, planning commission's been working on those, like I said, for about the last 2 years. We've had numerous discussions, numerous public meetings on those. We've also got input from the fire district. We've tried to get some input from the school district. We've got input on the environmental regulations that we have from a number of citizens, as well as the zoning and some of the comp plan itself. So all of those things have been publicly reviewed and vetted through the planning commission. We've been through our SEPA process, which is the state environmental review. We've been through the Department of Commerce's 60-day review, and that's for state agencies and tribes to comment on the content of those. We did get a lot of significant comments from the state agencies, and those even came in after the close of the 60-day review. So the documents that are before you tonight are modified after the planning commission recommendation documents. Planning commission closed their public hearing and forwarded on some recommendations. And then we continued to get comments from state agencies. The big thing about the comp plan is that it has to be compliant with the updated regulations and state laws and the updated policies that the state has adopted and mandated that the cities adopt. So we got comments from the Department of Fish and Wildlife. We got comments from Ecology. We got comments from the Department of Commerce, who's not a regulatory agency, but they assist us in being compliant with the regulations. And we just got Commerce's comments officially on Friday. So we're scrambling to get documents together. We had some preview of the comments and that helped. And I did compare the final letter to the other ones, and there weren't any significant changes in content. So the documents before you tonight should address all of those. We also had a public comment on the zoning map. So the map that came before you, I actually did get a chance because that comment came in just before the last planning commission meeting. So I took that back for discussion. We had quite a bit of discussion about where the waterfront mixed use zone would be. With guidance about, okay, well, it's got to be waterfront parcels. And down at the south end of town, we have a little bit of an oddity where we have an intervening parcel that's actually out in the river that's actually owned by a state agency. But it is an intervening parcel. And then we have an extension of First, which is apparently an unofficial extension for part of it, because the assessor says that it's private land after a certain point. But it does function as a public roadway. So I took that all back to planning commission and we revised the map to pull a couple of the parcels there out of the waterfront mixed use zone. So there's only one sheet that impacted. So that came to you all separately. And then the other piece down there was one that I had made a mistake on. I grabbed it, but it was actually outside of our UGA. So we don't zone property. We don't usually even zone property in our UGA, but in this case, that was clearly an error because it's even outside of our UGA. The county does ask us to suggest the zoning for the UGA, which we have done for not only the UGA, but the future urban reserve area. All of this together is supposed to be for the next 20 years of growth, but we have the ability to modify it and update it once a year. So if something is wrong with what we've done now and we don't realize it until next year, we can come back and make small changes every year. We do periodic updates every 7 years, which is what we just went through. And that's when the state mandates that we update. So that way the plan, even though it's a 20-year document, it doesn't just sit on the shelf for 20 years. We're able to work with it and modify it. We can make changes to the zoning code. Anytime, we can do those more than once a year. So if something in the zoning code, oops, missed it, or something isn't quite the way we thought it would work, we can go back and fix it next year. So they are living documents, but I wanted you to understand the context of what you had in front of you and the kind of the permanence or the ability to change it too, to modify it and still work with it. So if there are no questions for staff, I'll take my seat.
It was quick. It was quick, Todd.
That was short for.
For you, that was very short, yes.
There is no further public comment. I will go ahead and close.
Can I give you something real quick? I just wanted to thank Todd for being so receptive to the feedback you guys doing those last minute changes real quick, and just appreciate you and all your knowledge.
Thank you.
All right, yes, Cindy Sampo. There was public comment last council meeting. Did that get?
Yeah, it's
incorporated?
it's Joe Notch's. Yeah,
Yep.
I sent it over to Todd and it will, as soon as we can list it on the website, we will.
All right, we will go ahead and close the public meeting at 6:21. All right, no special presentation tonight. I will open it up for public comment on our agenda items. Thank you. All right, if there is no public comment, we will go ahead and jump right into new business. So first up is going to be ordinance number 833, an ordinance of the city of Toledo, Washington, adopting the Toledo Land Development Code 2025 edition, repealing prior land ordinance 664 and subsequent amendments, providing for consistency with the comprehensive plan and compliance with the State Environmental Policy Act, and establishing an effective date. And I would entertain a motion.
I will read Steph ordinance number 833.
Second it.
Moved by Tawny and seconded by Jamie. We'll open it up for discussion.
There, in the definitions, there's a definition for private utility, but there's nowhere else in the document that private utility is used. Apparently it doesn't matter if we do or don't remove it, but it seems kind of silly to have a definition if it's not in the document.
I was the same thing you talked about.
So, Councilor Durst is absolutely correct. It doesn't, if it's in there and it's not used elsewhere, there's a little bit of a puzzle as to why it's there. That was actually in there before. It's fun to either leave it in. I don't know if somewhere else in your code, it points to the land development code and private utilities in your sewer water sections of code. We didn't review all of those. So leaving it in potentially covers us if there's another section of your code that references it, but that's unlikely. Usually you don't try to go back and forth. You define it within the code section you're working in. So I think there's no harm in deleting it. If you'd like to do that. I did try to catch all the ones that weren't used, but I didn't catch all of them, so.
I'm assuming with Toledo Tel that it's referred to somewhere.
Toledo Tel is referred to by name in some of the code
They are a
sections.
private utility, but
So, but we don't specifically use the term.
And that was not clear.
Thank you.
Placeholder.
Would, electric grids, personal electric grids on your house, would that qualify for private utility?
If, only if you're, so the way the private utility is defined, and I'd have to go back in and pull that up, but in the code, we've defined what a private utility is. And that would not rise to that because you're not selling energy to your neighbors. So it's a private utility among a group of people, is the general gist of it. But it does talk about power and water and sewer or any utility purveyor. So all of those things in there are private utilities. So the way it's worded, it wouldn't, if you have solar on your home, you wouldn't be a private utility by code definition, the way it's defined.
But you can sell your solar back if you have a surplus, you can sell it back to the.
Back to the
utility.
public utility. Yeah.
I've got no problem with leaving it there just in case. I
Yeah.
just was wondering if I missed something,
No, likely I just missed that, because I did try to go through and delete the unused terms, which was my preference, but it's a preference, not a mandate.
I do appreciate all the work that went into this. I mean, it was definitely a major overhaul that has been needed for a decade or two.
Your planning commission was fantastic to work with and very detail oriented in going through this. And then we even had reviews by council members and the general public too, commented main reviews. So all of that makes a lot better document. Not just state agencies commenting, but actually people who live here and work here that care about this. So it's a better document because of all these comments. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for pointing out that we can change it
As we go.
quickly if needed. We can change it throughout if we come across something that doesn't.
Yeah, to be clear,
That's very helpful.
the comprehensive plan only once a year, the zoning and the zoning maps. It more or less at will, the zoning maps, if they affect the comprehensive plan designation. Then those would be limited to once a year too, so anything comp plan can only be done once a year, but zoning. If it's wrong, you could change it next week with the other council. With due public notice.
Is there any other questions before I call for the vote? Right, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, next is ordinance 836, an ordinance of the city of Toledo, Washington, adopting the official zoning map of the city of Toledo, repealing prior zoning maps and inconsistent zoning designations, providing for compliance with the Growth Management Act and State Environmental Policy Act, and establishing an effective date, and I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we accept ordinance number 836.
I'll second it.
Moved by Tawny and seconded by Jamie, and I will open that up for discussion.
The mixed use waterfront first. I think I've said out loud, I don't really like it. I'm not sure if we're grown up enough to support it, and I'm curious if staff or the mayor has any idea how they're going to regulate, or for want of a better word, what goes in there. Because, you know, what I don't see here is a whole lot of residents that this is going to affect greatly. I don't see them here tonight. So, you know, I'm a block off of it, and I'm kind of not pleased with it. So I can imagine that maybe they wouldn't be either. So I understand that we're not gonna go, you know, not gonna break ground tomorrow and turn that whole thing into a strip of businesses. But it's a big thing.
And I know my thought process on this, when I had spoke to Todd about making that, it is for the growth of the city down the line. I do know a lot of those houses were multi-generational, so.
And there's a lot of blank lots there.
Yeah. So it is a matter, and I read over everything that's in the zoning in regards to that. And I think it does spell it out really good so that it does keep it kind of regulated as far as, you know, we're not building up, we're not obscuring these views. They've got to have certain amount of parking for. So I think it's a way to mitigate it, but I do think that that is something, and again, it'll come to us, and we should probably have a way to reach out to the people that are all along the adjoining lots when the businesses do decide to move in, but people are here to have their voices heard.
And I encourage the city, so I'm gonna speak to Rachel here since she's the long-term person that between elections. I really do encourage the city to figure out a policy for that makes sense, so that you're not completely destroying the happy lives of the people that live on the other side of First.
Yeah,
And potentially down every single one of those streets.
So just to be sure that we're all looking at the right map, the revised map that had that tweak in it is impacted at that property. It's just past Alder Street.
Yeah.
So Alder Street is now the end of waterfront mixed use.
I'm just talking about all the way down First Street, you know, I actually, I don't remember what that place is, it's on the Columbia River, it's a Mexican restaurant, and they've got a big old dock, and it's parties every night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my fear, right, that's my nightmare right there, is that we place one of those right on Maple and First.
Well, I think you're gonna find that a lot of that is going to be negated by the requirements inside the regulation. Requires that the Riverwalk Riverwalk pathway being built there, which would include a deck extending out into the water because you have to make room for that, and there's very little room back there. The fact that you have to have 250 square feet of parking for every, or for every 250 square feet of business, you have to have a parking spot, is going to, in essence, regulate how large that business can be, because you would end up giving most of your lot for parking if you got anything but more than a bistro or a small restaurant. I think our noise regulations probably take care of the nighttime problems that we might incur. And I do agree with the mayor that this was thinking down the road when the city grows up a little more, and there's more a call for something along the waterfront to attract people to the town. That it would be a beneficial part of that arrangement.
Excellent. So I also gave feedback on the red, which is mixed use, and that is, I think, between Silver and the next street up. It came in pretty deep, all the way to second, and so I encourage the same thing there, that it makes a ton of sense along 505. But I definitely caution to have some tools in place to make sure that you protect the residents.
Well, I don't know exactly what's proposed or might happen in those areas, but I do know that every year when we have cheese days, nobody sleeps for 3 days because we have bands in the streets.
And I don't want that every weekend.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, you go up to Leavenworth, you live 5 blocks off of the main street in Leavenworth, and you can't park in front of your house because it's all full of cars. So all the people that don't want Toledo to change, be careful of it.
Well, correct me, but a lot of the area that is designated as mixed use in the red is already zoned mixed use. It's the single family dwellings that are out of compliance, even though they're being grandfathered in.
Yeah, I think there was just a couple.
Yeah, most of that was the old commercial zones. We still retain just that one yellow piece of actual commercial within the surroundings area of all downtown mixed use. But the downtown mixed use was intended to provide the residential and commercial blend. So it's a mix of residences and commercial uses.
I think it was this block here. The red comes down into.
Yes, the red does go down quite a bit further over there.
And so okay, it's not the first two, so it's this one that, I don't know, maybe that isn't so.
Yeah, over on the other side of State Route 505, it does go a lot deeper down, than it used to.
And we narrowed that down quite a bit. Remember when we went over Lebanon Block and thought that.
Yeah, this stuff over here, we pulled off.
I think the intent, the planning commission's thoughts on that were to be like a lot of other small towns as they grow, is to enable professional businesses to enter the city and buy a residential home and refurbish it to a professional building, so that you could have a chiropractor or a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer that's in town hanging out their shingle and being able to do so as a business write-off for refurbishing and then making our town look better.
I guess it's how it ends up happening, or how it gets facilitated through the city.
Yeah, and I do think policies will help to
Yeah.
mitigate any issues. Anybody else have any comments before I call for the vote? All right. I'll go ahead and call for the vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on next to ordinance number 835, an ordinance of the city of Toledo, Washington, adopting the City of Toledo Comprehensive Plan 2025 through 2045, providing for the periodic update of the city's comprehensive plan in accordance with RCW 37.70A.130, repealing any prior comprehensive plan adoptions that conflict herewith and establishing an effective date. And I would entertain a motion.
Make the motion, we accept ordinance 835.
I'll second that.
Moved by Tawny and seconded by Eric, and we'll open that up for discussion.
And is this is where I should bring up, there may be appendixes that need to be added.
Yes, thank you. So I guess in the staff presentation, I neglected to point out that there is one, there was one highlighted section that's meant to have the appendices filled in. And it does not, it still remains highlighted in that document. So the one change that, that needs to be made is that needs to be referencing the correct appendix that it actually is. And then I noticed that the appendices themselves weren't separated very well because you have appendices and adopted plans. So by reference, we're adopting the fire district's capital facilities plan and the school district's capital facilities plan, which helps to facilitate us beginning to look at impact fees in the future. But then the appendices that were listed there didn't include all of the Gray and Osborne memos either. So I would like to be able to go back in and just add the 3 appendices from Gray and Osborne, and then correct the lettering down below in the appendices, and then add the correct reference up in the top. So before I can make that change, I would need that
And amended.
be included, if we may. It's not a content change. It's the same memo that was intended on, it's just a Scrivener's error basically, so.
So I'd like to amend our acceptance of ordinance number 835 to include any corrections made for our discussion tonight.
I'll second that.
So the amended motion was made by Rebecca and seconded by Eric, so we'll go ahead and I'll continue on for discussion on that. If anybody has anything,
When is this getting signed officially?
this would be this, yeah,
Is there a planning commission meeting on Wednesday,
yes,
which will be what?
that is. They're done with the comp plan at this point. They've had comp plan for the way through.
We're still working on, so the work this week is continuing work on the longer term comp plan, but this is on the environmental element. It's our climate planning grant. So this Wednesday, we'll be looking at some of the policies as they relate to climate planning. And this will actually conclude this year's grant cycle. We're hoping that we'll get more grant funding next year, and we can dive in deeper on a couple of topics. But that would result in changes to the comp plan next year. We already have climate resiliency elements that are part of tonight's adopted version. So, but what we're continuing to work on with Planning Commission and hopefully into next year, the grant funding is really thin this year, so it's not clear if we'll get it or not next year. But if we do, we'd like to come back and focus more on the infrastructure and all of these.
Does anybody else have anything on the amended motion on the floor? All right, I will go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, motion carries. We will move on next to resolution number 344A, a resolution of the City Council of Toledo, Washington, establishing permanent changes to City Hall office hours effective January 1, 2026. I entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we accept resolution 344A.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Tony and seconded by Rebecca, and I will open that up for discussion.
So even though the office hours are 8 to 3, Monday through Thursday, and 9 to noon on Fridays, somebody's still here 40 hours a week.
Yes.
So if in case of an emergency or whatever, someone can be reached.
And I do know that the girls that are here, well, all of the staff that is here early in the morning, there's been times where people will come up and knock on the door. As long as it's not a safety concern, they will open the door, bring them in, help them. The city cell phone is available. They can be reached at that anytime. They can email in once the website's up and running. As far as like documents and such go, they'll have access to all of those. But yeah, if there's ever any special considerations that need to be made, just all they have to do is just reach out to City Hall and we'll make accommodations for them.
There's a note out front also that says if they need any appointment outside of office hours, that they can set those up.
I'd like to object to the statement, the current office hours are from 9 to 3, because I've come up here several times by 2 and the office is closed. So,
Not true.
well, it is true.
Okay, but the current office hours are listed from 9 to 3. So that's,
Is that core hours? So someone's gonna be here?
someone's always here from 9 to 3.
5 o'clock, so I see you sometime. And you work, say noon, but somebody else comes in later and stays till 3. So all it's saying is somebody's here from 9 to 3, right?
Correct.
I guess ability to schedule, and it covers my feedback from last time, which was that, you know, you have a lot of truck drivers that drive out here at 3:30. That get off work at 2 or something, or get off work at 3. And
Yeah,
then we're closed,
which I think,
which I guess they can figure that out through scheduling or.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you do have, what was it, four times a month where staff's here till 6 anyway, so. I know it makes for complicated hours, but
and again, as the city grows, these hours are gonna start extending more and more and more.
yeah, we are definitely on the cusp of needing the growth to afford the growth that's
Yep.
here. And so I know that that's kind of the budget's gonna get tighter every year until that happens.
Yes, but in the meantime, we do have, these are set hours, we are open, call to make an appointment if, anybody needs time outside those hours, and we will definitely make accommodations for that. Any other discussion? All right, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the in-body public defender ILA renewal. And I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the ILA for the public defender.
I'll second that.
It has been moved by Rebecca and seconded by Kathy, and I will open that up for discussion.
I kind of assume this is just sort of a renewal type thing.
It is, and I know for me, looking at the projections of growth for the fees, I'm like, it seems a lot when we have a lot of work being done by the public defender, but overall, it's really not a large
And
jump in that over the next couple of years.
It's kind of weird this is being called an ILA when really it's just 3 different cities
yeah.
with the same contract.
Aren't we adding a public defender, or was Jacob Clark previously a public defender for us?
I think he's our backup.
Yeah. I'm like, I know I've seen his name come through on some of the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but the main contract is with N-Body.
Mhm. And did anybody have anything to bring up on this one? Any changes that they saw?
Only thing I want to know what was the current rate, because I guess nobody can find the contract.
I looked it up. It's, I think it's 300 an hour.
Okay.
Which tracks, cause it's $35 increase every year. It's gone up to $335, then it goes up to $370 from there. Okay, if there is no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item up is resolution number 345A, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Toledo, Washington, adopting a social media policy to govern official use of social media by city officials, employees, and board members. And I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we pass resolution 345A.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Kathy and seconded by Rebecca, and I will open that up for discussion.
So this is a new policy, we do not have a policy, so this is one we need to have.
Yes, and I know it's not necessarily the driving force, but I know other cities are creating Facebook pages for municipal use, so it's definitely one that, as Facebook continues to grow and become kind of a breeding ground for things that can go drastically wrong, I think this is definitely a good idea.
I'm going to oppose this. I'm going to vehemently oppose this. This is First Amendment rights being trampled on. We are elected officials. We have our own parameters. And having the city of Toledo tell us what we can and cannot do is not okay.
Have you actually read the policy? Because it was pretty specific to make sure that no First Amendment rights were violated. It just says if you're gonna speak about certain things with the city, to make sure you're not speaking, to post that you're not speaking as a city representative. So if you're gonna come in and say, I think the city sucks today, just put, this does not, this, I'm not speaking for city council, I'm speaking for myself.
This tramples all over First Amendment rights.
Doesn't it kind of follow the training that we get when we come on board though? Of what a person.
The
of office
training
can and can't
says
say.
this is what you should be doing, yes.
Yeah. And
This
kind of
says
reiterates
you
it.
will be punished if you violate any of this. Whether it's your First Amendment right or not. So,
And then Rachel, do you, I know you did a lot of research on this too. And this is kind of one of the things that a lot of the cities have started doing, correct?
Correct, and it, yes, it's worded specifically to not, make sure it does not violate any First Amendment rights.
if they jump in the lake, are we gonna jump in the lake too?
No.
It's to protect the city.
Does anybody else?
And it's to protect the council members as well.
Yep.
I mean, I'm Mr. Pro Constitution.
I see no protection for council members there. I see the city and the mayor telling the council members what they can and cannot do.
I think that helping avoid a quorum is a good thing, helping, you know, if you get up there and you speak as though you're speaking on behalf, as speaking as council, you can get in trouble really quick. Or if you're speaking, you know, if you're on one of our park board or plan commission, you can get in trouble really quick.
And that's on you.
And also please
But
note,
that's all kind of on the city, because you know, Rachel's got to comply with records retention, so that means she's got to keep track of everything that all of us are saying. And I think she's not
And that's
saying
what
don't
we're-
do it, she's just saying you're doing it, if the rules, there's a. kind of
That's why I was
a-
asked if the policy was read, because yeah, it talks a lot about public records, and if you're going to post to
The-
social media, you need to keep those records and send them into us, because I'm responsible for making sure that if I have a public records request on a Santa Quad Parade post and what everything that was commented on, I don't have access to that. I can't track it if I'm not friends with certain people. So the majority of this policy is built around public records requests.
I get that.
And
I
there
read
is
the whole thing.
under number 5, personal use and responsibilities, there's a suggested phrase that says the views expressed here are my own and do not represent the views of the city of Toledo. That's the point, you can say whatever you
Right,
want.
so you can come out and say the
As long
city
as it's
sucks
not
or
on
whatever you
official
want.
city
It just needs to
I
be.
get it. I'm telling you, I'm voting against this.
Okay.
and I would also like to point out that as the mayor, I have to uphold what you guys put into place. It is not my choice. If you voted it, I'm required to make it happen. So you cannot say that it is the mayor doing it when you guys are the ones that have the vote. Yeah. Is there any further discussion before I call for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Motion carries. Next up is resolution 343A, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Toledo, Washington, authorizing the surplus and transfer of a Kubota zero-turn mower from the 401 fund to the general fund for park use only. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 343A.
I'll second that.
Moved by Eric and seconded by Rebecca, and I will open that up for discussion.
When I first saw this in the header, I was worried we were selling the Kubota and I was gonna be. I'm really glad we're selling it to ourselves.
Why do we have to do this? I'm assuming there's a good reason.
Fund to fund,
Yep.
we're putting money from one fund to another fund technically, and the general fund paid for the repair. And I'm sorry, the 401 paid for the repair, it's being transferred to the general fund.
Then let me rephrase.
So there's gotta be a resolution to go fund.
Water sewer is its own business unit. We have to keep funds segregated, so it belongs to water sewer, so we have to buy it from water sewer. We've been renting it.
Yeah.
The park pays water sewer for usage of it every year, but the problem is water sewer now has their own brand new fancy mower that they really wanted. So they weren't taking care of the Kubota. And we need the park to be responsible for it from a finances standpoint and make sure we aren't gifting
So
funds.
this is lining up the park to have its more of its own
Yes,
thing, which is what we've been doing
yes,
all year. Okay.
yes.
I figured there was a reason for it other than.
Just because. Right. Does anybody else have anything on that before I call for the vote? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, last item on our new business, I do have an oath of office tonight, for Mr. Hill. This copy. Okay, do you want to come on up here? Can you see us both? Yes, we can. All right, I'm gonna hand you that one. And then you can read and I'll read that. Yeah, you raise your right hand and I'll have you repeat after me. I, Tom Hill, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of a member of the City of Toledo Planning Commission to the best of my ability in accordance with the Constitution and laws of the United States, the laws of the state of Washington, and the ordinances and regulations of the City of Toledo.
I, Tom Hill, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of a member of the City of Toledo Planning Commission to the best of my ability, in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of the United States, the laws of the state of Washington, and the ordinances and regulations of the City of Toledo.
I will uphold and adhere to the principles of integrity, transparency, and fairness in all planning commission activities and decisions. I will strive to promote the public welfare and act in the best interest of the City of Toledo.
I will uphold and adhere to the principles of integrity, transparency, and fairness in all planning commission activities and decisions. I will strive to promote the public welfare and act in the best interest of the City of Toledo.
Thank you. Welcome to the board. All right. So,
Thank you, Tom.
and before you leave tonight, I'll have you sign this.
Sure. Sure. Could you explain to me how that goes? Cause I thought they got sworn in when they came on board.
They do, and each time that you end, you have to be resworn.
Okay, so nobody else is ending?
We will be, I will have a lot of times where I'm swearing people in, we will be filling, as we fill the seats, they'll get sworn in again. And anybody that reaches the end of their term and is continuing gets sworn in again.
So this is something else we're starting to do, right?
Yes.
Cause I don't remember getting sworn at, so.
Oh, you put it on there. I don't,
I know.
Now you're locked in for 4 years,
I'm not
Tom.
gonna swear this much at people.
I think that you should not give them the sheet and see if they can keep 2 paragraphs in their brain.
No, I don't wanna be that. So we'll jump on down. No unfinished business tonight. For other business, so I'm gonna turn it over to Jamie. You've got something to discuss on the financials.
Oh,
Run.
I'm up now?
Yeah.
Cause I thought we were covering the other one first. Okay,
We have another.
No,
I thought there was, but.
no,
That's fine, good. Okay, so. I'm gonna preface this with. There's a lot to cover here. And so if I pause. To formulate my thoughts, I'm not done.
just let us know.
I
when you
will
are.
say I'm done.
But you mean Eric, you're telling me that because I'm the one most likely to speak up quickly.
I will, yes. So we have. A. City card. A Citibank card. We also have a Costco executive membership card. Because I have each of those, I know that you get cash back once a year on both of those. And when I asked about what those cash backs were doing, I was told that she bought stuff for the employees. And I don't recall voting to increase perks for the employees. There's no accounting. It comes with a coupon. So it's not like there's any documentation. Both of them have a coupon and they should come with the bill paying and what it was applied to. I can see no documentation for that. I think that's a slippery slope. Additionally, we have what we're paying for is Thursday lunches, apparently. And I worked for the state. We had potlucks. Everybody can contribute to a potluck. I don't know why we are paying for Thursday lunches. First of all, that's another perk that we have not voted on. And when I came in Thursday to get my packet, there were 6 people milling around the work area and no work. It looked like lunch was over and no work was being done. And it wasn't even 2 o'clock, let alone 3 o'clock if we were working until 3. So if you take the 6 people that were there and you do a conservative $20 an hour, which is really conservative because you have your salary, you have your benefits, including vacation, sick pay, healthcare. What are the other ones? Pension.
Fully loaded is 50 to 70 an hour.
Yeah, so if you take 6 people times 2 hours, and that's conservative, times $20 an hour, because I've already calculated it, times 52 weeks, that's over $12,500. So I'm not the executive, but you were there, standing there, watching this. And whether you said something before I got there, or whether you said something after I got there, I have no way of knowing. But I believe this should be brought to council's attention. Because we're a municipality. We're supposed to be fiscally responsible. We're supposed to, we just had to do paperwork in order to account for the transfer of the mower. And if we do surplus things and it's only $1, we still have to account for the $1. So I'm seeing a sliding of fiscal responsibility. And I'm also tired of being the only person who brings this stuff up. I'm done.
Can I speak to that? Okay.
You can, I was going through as well, but go ahead.
So that was our Christmas lunch and all the employees were clocked out and nobody paid for it. We all brought our own dish. So nothing was paid for by the city. Everybody was clocked out. The city Costco card and the city bank card are the same thing. And they do get membership points. You get cash back. This was something that was brought up with the auditor last year on how we could spend it. And I do have emails back and forth. I believe those emails were submitted with the last audit information that stated as long as we used them and took good records of them, we were fine. I was told that we could put this to our wellness activities. So it's not just gifts that I'm buying for the employees. It's wellness, which actually saves the city a bunch of money on our insurance. I think it's 2%. out of like $70,000, plus all the employees save money on their health insurance. If we're doing these wellness activities, so it pays for things like, I don't know, like a gift card for, doing a 20,000 steps in a day or whatever the activities are that we have going on at that moment.
So from an accountability standpoint, are these on bars line items that are approved?
They are,
So I think that's key, because I do agree with her that it needs to be accounted for.
it's all
But
accounted
if they're
for.
accounted for, as in that we know we're gonna spend $500 or whatever it is on
Well,
wellness because it saves us $2,500 in our premium, then the fact that we get the $500 from
Every single purchase
Costco
was
is a pretty sweet
documented,
deal.
and I do have the receipts as
Okay,
well.
okay.
And again, to Thursday, it was 100% potluck, and I was up here dropping off stuff that I made for the potluck before I headed uptown. I knew they were all clocked out on their lunches when I got.
Okay. I was told by Rachel that the city is buying Thursday lunches.
I never said that.
You did. You did.
I
say-
know that there were discussions as far as next year goes for that potential, but
What I stated is that we were having Thursday lunches that was good for morale, but I've never had the city buy us a lunch. That's all. We have a $200 line item. You're welcome to look at every single purchase that I've made. I can show you everything and you're not gonna see any lunches on there. There's a $200 line item for celebrations for things like Christmas activities and such. We spend that money on getting decorations for the city rather than meals for the employees. You guys don't have Christmas parties here. The morale has not been the best. When I got here, I mean, there wasn't a lot of staff, but between council and staff and mayor, the morale was horrible. What I've been doing is getting the employees together on Thursdays. This month, we did it every week because it's Christmas, but other than that, it's once a month and we all bring our own food. Nothing's paid for by the city. Everybody's clocked out and you're probably getting better staff output because you have happier employees.
I have no problem with that. That's not what you said to me, and that's
Okay,
why I
well,
brought it
there
up.
was some miscommunication there and you could have brought it up on Thursday as well. Like, hey, what's going on? You talk about transparency. You could have simply asked rather than
Actually,
trying to make it.
That's not her, that would have been her place to talk about.
Yeah.
I appreciate the camaraderie because I do agree with Rachel that when I got here, that it was bad. I mean, the departments hated each other. They hated the elected officials. The elected officials hated the staff. I mean, the whole thing was a mess. And if you can have people that work together, because comp is your number one line item by a lot. I mean, it's half our budget. So if you're, if I can do a little thing to make them more effective and actually work together, that pays off big time. That said, we have to do it legitimately.
And
know-
transparent.
yes, yes.
all right. Anybody else have any input on that? All right, so I will go ahead and open it up for any public input. Careful.
Kyle Wheeler, I just wanted to thank you first for passing the social media policy. I've had terrible experiences with elected officials doing stuff on social media and there not being clear lines of where things start and stop, so I appreciate that. And then, just wanted to say thank you to all of our outgoings, because I know that it was a thankless job, so just a quick.
If only it were, thanks. Thank you.
Larry Davidson, Greater Toledo Heritage and Horizons, and here to give you a bit of a status update. Let's see, where do I begin? As you know, we got approval from the county to do the STEM activities of the park. We also got approval to do beaver mitigation of the park. We got an emergency call last week. Can you do that now? As you all have probably seen along Ray Road, severe beaver activity. So we got down here right away and we fenced the trees that were savable. There were 2 that were not savable. We've also tagged trees, those in particular, because they'll eventually need to be considered for being cut down. Along about Friday, I got another call and said, do you know anything about these trees being cut down? Because our discussion with the county was, we're proposing trees that need to be brought down because they're a safety hazard. And we agreed with the county. In fact, I even talked with the risk management person of the county that we as a group would not do that. But when it came time, we would coordinate with the county and the county would do it, or we could do it, whatever the agreement is with the county. As I said before, we don't proceed without county approval. So apparently someone in the community came along and chose to cut those 2 trees down. I don't know who it was. Don't really care at this point. We wanted to do more beaver work right away. However, as you all know, flood. And when we went down there, water was clear up, running over Ray Road in 3 different places. So we had to stop the beaver mitigation activity. We're looking at how quickly we can get back in there and start more of that. And the mitigation activity right now is primarily putting wire over the trees. I do need to give kudos to Home Depot and Chehalis. They quickly provided us with the materials to do that mitigation last week. They provided us with fencing, posts, some paint and sand, when we eventually do paint the trees, all on a voluntary basis and a donation. So that deals with the park and the beaver mitigation. In addition, at the park, we've already offered to help the county with, if the FEMA funds become available, help the county with evaluation and maybe even help them with grant writing to get FEMA dollars in to do repairs on the park. We've been watching very closely the southeast corner, which has become eroded. It's maybe a little bit worse than it was before. We've also been watching 3 spots along the Cowlitz River bank that are eroding. The south end has been eroding for a while. It looks like it's got some increased erosion, but further up, there's 2 spots. We can actually see where more eroded during this flood, and the flood is still going on. It will be going on through the end of the week, so we're volunteering to help in that effort. I mentioned before, we like to be transparent. I said I couldn't name the 4 companies because I hadn't had a sufficient discussion with them. They are not yet partners with us. They're not endorsing us. The 4 major companies we're working with right now are Weyerhaeuser, Fort Blakely, Tacoma Power, and Tillamook Corporation out of Oregon. Tillamook's interested because we do cheese days. So we're discussing with them educational opportunities, funding for educational programs under their STEM activities, and also potentially down the road, potentially dollars in grants for funding improvements to the facilities around the area. So those are the 4 corporations that I mentioned before. We said we're looking for big major corporations to assist us with these things. And then lastly, the South Lewis County Chamber, of which I'm also a member, attended the Regional Economic Development Conference in Centralia last week. It was hosted by Thurston County EDC. Very informative, learned a lot there. And then on a personal note, I got my time with Lieutenant Governor to talk with him about the problems that small rural communities have with the Growth Management Act just being absolutely too tight. We're not saying get rid of it. We're not saying make huge major change to it, but can you loosen it up a little bit? It gives you a chance to do some more economic business in the area, primarily small businesses and small opportunities to help the rural communities grow and increase tourism. So let's see, did I miss anything? I think it's 3 minutes for probably. I think that's all I have for today.
And thank
Thanks,
you for
Larry.
speaking on the beavers. I know I'd asked Dan about that earlier.
How's it going?
I'm glad to see you up and moving.
Jay Downey, I live at 201 Custom Street in Midtown. Got another one of these things. $1,000 fine. Juvenile grass. Same one thing. This is number 10, by the way, if anybody's keeping score.
And I do have a way to take care of the stuff in your back.
So in springtime, I'm gonna have it resodded. I already have it set up. They just won't do it now.
No.
So if we can just make, the fruit looks good. It's all mowed down. Can we just make it till springtime and like I'm trying to take like
you email Sarah and tell her that, she'll make a note. It just gets sent out. If she doesn't hear from you, she'll send out another one like, hey, and these don't get in front of me unless it's like, hey, we're actually gonna send them a ticket. So I didn't see this one go out, but if you call the office or send her an email,
Is it the email? It's all-
the Sarah, yeah, if just send her an email and say, hey, I will take care of this in the spring, she'll make a note and you'll stop getting them.
Just make sure you,
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you,
Yeah.
Sherry.
It's literally stressing me out. I got
Yeah.
a lot of things going on. And
Uh,
it's just.
and just let her know that they cannot do it right now,
Yeah.
that they can't do it, not that you're not
Yeah, and
trying.
it's because a lot of it, there's gravel on the one side
Mhm.
that, it's got some shin high grass grown that's nasty, and I agree that it doesn't look the best. I agree with that. I agree that the back is, not where it should be. And, it's like a foot over the fence, but, so is the building that lives next door to me, that big giant, whatever that thing is that the cats live in,
Oh, the
the-
old theater.
the old theater or whatever that thing is, I mean, that's atrocious looking too. And so, I mean, I think that little bit of gravel is kind of a lot to be getting $1,000 fine thing.
Communicate with Sarah, and we are working on rewording our letters. We're just doing it after the holidays.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys. I'm sorry for the last time I've been here. I felt like I got a little aggressive and I'm trying to communicate better. And it's one thing that I've been working on is communicating better. And so I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Shay.
Wait a minute, you talked 3 minutes.
No,
No, you're good.
I was gonna say, I did forget one thing. Remember last time you talked about the school requesting us help with the trail?
Yes.
Where we understand the trail to be, you can see it on the picture there. It's the westward extension from the end of Cowles Street. Right below the middle school, there's a long straight path back to a very big huge tree. At the end of that path, the old trail curved down to the elementary. And provided a path from the elementary to the middle school, or from the middle school down to the elementary. They've asked us to clear that path out. I don't have the plat maps yet to determine how much is city property, how much is school property. But they've asked us to do that. One of the big reasons for doing it is a safety aspect. You had to evacuate students from the elementary to the middle school. You have an open path that doesn't take them through the streets. They can just turn right up the hill, vice versa. So that was what the question from the school was.
And thank you, because that's the path I was thinking you were talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, my name is Tristan Spark, I'm at 501 Washington Street. I own a green truck that's there, and we got letters for it at first it was for expired tabs, but the thing is, it doesn't have expired tabs. And now it's for a flat tire, and we have bindweed growing on it, and you can't really get rid of bindweed. And they wanna fine for like $1,000 or something if it doesn't go within 30 days
Is it the yellow truck?
in front of it.
It's a forerunner?
It's a pickup, but yeah,
No.
yeah.
Is it the one that I had spoken with your mom about, the yellow one that was her dad's? Or maybe it's
No,
green.
no, there's one in front of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking that out there that I'm gonna put air in the tire and pull some of the bindweed away. I was just hoping to not get fined for, they're old tires,
Yeah, as long as you let Sarah know that you are working on it, she will definitely.
Okay.
work with you. So
Yeah,
just
and
email her, or call
She
her.
talked to your mom, I believe, also, and gave you guys 30 days.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
and
you.
we are working on rewording the letters, because
Okay,
Make them a little more.
it currently, yeah.
thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Absolutely, thank you. What?
I sit on 2 other boards in the town. What constitutes a conflict of interest by putting the planning commission?
There's
You
none.
come forward and say it's like disclosed.
It has to be disclosed, and you would have to recuse yourself from anything that would be beneficial for anything business, like your your own business related, because I know you do have businesses within town. But other than that, you should be allowed to sit on the boards. So I would definitely recommend putting in an application. All right, if there is no further public comment, we have no executive session, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
Been moved by Eric and seconded by Kathy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.